Hi, I'm Alice and I work as a project manager for TalenTeam. I've been doing this job for a few years now, and along the way picked up some tips and tricks that have helped me to improve my projects, and I wanted to share those with you. This video is about the 5 biggest mistakes that you make when implementing a cloud system. The first one is incredibly common and a really, it's a big trap if you don't think about it. And it is that you are doing this change for the sake of change. Now, I know there's a lot of strategies out there to move to cloud as companies, and that's absolutely fine. But as you're starting to do that, do it because you're resolving problems, not because we need an IT upgrade. We should be in the cloud because that's the thing to do. You will absolutely fail. Take my word for it. What you are doing when you are implementing anything new, whether it's a system, a process, or whatever, you are doing it because you're making things easier. You're resolving problems. So you can just about imagine the difference between going out to a company saying, we're going into the cloud, next Thursday you'll have a new system. Or if you go out and saying, we're going into cloud because this resolves our admin hours problem. It will give us data and report outputs that we need. It's going to make your admin jobs really easy. It's an intuitive, easy to use system for the end users where they've got everything in one place. It will be easily accessible. None of that complication that we used to have. What a different message, right? One, people will be like, oh, here we go, another system, who cares? The other one is, oh yes, this was going to really help me. So mistake number 1 is to kind of just say, we're going into cloud because we are going into cloud, and don't do that. Resolve problems, identify issues, challenges, irritation moments that people have been having before this new system, and then make the promise of fixing them, and of course follow up on those promises. Massive difference in how adoption happens afterwards. Mistake number 2, you are expecting the cloud system to replicate exactly what you had before. Never going to happen. Now, cloud systems are highly configurable, so of course they can be bent to do what you need them to do. But I think if you expect them to do exactly the stuff that you had before, then you will be disappointed and frustrated, because it won't. End of the day, it is a shelfware. It's a pre-built system. Yes, it can be very flexible, but to a limit. So I think one of the mistakes that I found in my project is that people come in with an expectation that we're just literally it's going to look a little bit different, obviously, but basically it's going to do exactly the same thing in exactly the same way. It's not. It's not going to do that. I would say take it as a embrace the opportunity to change, to modernize, to simplify, to centralize your own processes, by going into the cloud and having new and different options. I think if you come in with that kind of positive attitude to the change, you will find that the adoption and in fact the entire ecosystem of whatever you're implementing is going to be better and more kind of open-minded, and that's the way to do it. Mistake number 3, you customize too much. Now, difference between configuring things and customizing things. Of course, configuring you're doing within the framework of the system build. So there are options for you to switch on and off, and that's fine. You can and you should configure your system to whatever you need it to be. Customizing is obviously adding custom bits to it. So you're literally going outside of that normal range of what the system does, and you're adding on very specific, special built custom solutions. Now, if you have to do it, you have to do it. Fine. But here's the kicker. If you customize a lot, there's 2 things to think about. 1, someone needs to know what you did and why and how, and those people can leave the company. So there is definitely a documentation, knowledge, maintenance piece to this that you need to remember and understand. The other one is, don't forget, a SaaS system gets upgraded, and the central SaaS system, product will not consider your special build customization magical solutions. They will upgrade the system, and very often it can break what you built, and then you have to obviously predict that, calculate the risks, make sure that you've got someone with the knowledge to fix it, and then do it every release. So don't customize too much if you can avoid it. It really can get you into a lot of trouble. Okay, mistake number 4, big one. You don't have a defined owner post go live, so a system owner, someone who knows upfront that it's going to be their name against the system. They need to be handling the ongoing maintenance, the governance, the changes, the releases, someone who owns the system, to whom people can go, who is the person to make decisions, or at least make sure decisions are made, someone who is protecting the system, and making sure that changes to the system are consistent with the original design, or consistent with, you know, the vision or what the system is meant to be doing for you. So someone to own it. Have a system owner, otherwise you will be lost. You will be lost. Take my word for it. So, and that kind of brings us on to mistake number 5, equally important, sort of along the same lines, but you don't have a predefined support structure for business as usual. So once you've implemented it, you're letting your end users use it. There will be questions, there will be issues, there will be, you know, things that they need to get in touch with you from a support perspective, and you don't have that in place. Whether it's a ticketing portal that you have, whether it's an email that they contact, there needs to be a channel that is communicated up front, or it's somewhere in the system very clearly. If you have a problem, you know, this is where you email, or this is where you log in to raise a ticket. And of course, on the other side of that fence, you need to have a structure to receive this. So you have to have someone who triages these, someone who can send them on to maybe more technical troubleshooting, and also someone who identifies if this is actually a bug or an issue or a problem or a change, because that's very different, isn't it? Because you're not just going to make changes to your system because an end user asked for it. That would go through a different process of approval or something like that. So have a support structure in place, communicate it up front, make sure you have people in those seats to receive whatever's coming their way from end users. Because let's be honest, if I'm an end user, I log in, something isn't right, I've got nowhere to go, I can ask around, but it's really complicated, there's nothing in place for me. I will very soon either give up and not use the system, or if I don't have a choice, I will hate it, or I will really think, well, this is just bad, this is bad, I don't like it, doesn't work. So having a support structure in place, key. So please do that. So those were the 5 common mistakes that I've seen when you go into cloud. So I hope those will help you avoid these problems. Thank you very much. See you next time.